Welcome back. Zach Mayo is training to be a US Navy pilot and is neither an officer nor a gentleman.
Yes, you know the movie, one of the highest grossing films of all time, An Officer and a Gentleman, has been adapted for the stage, and I went along to Leeds Grand Theatre to get a preview of the upcoming show. Well, it's set to make you laugh and cry while banging out some classic 80s tunes. Yes, the iconic story that is An Officer and a Gentleman comes to Irish stage this month. So I've come for a preview to Leeds Grand Theatre here in England to meet the cast and hopefully get swept off my feet.
The United States Navy. Stand tall. You will soar into heaven and dive into hell if you want to become an officer and a gentleman.
Douglas, I'm getting into the spirit of all things An Officer and a Gentleman here today. Thank you for taking the time.
You look great.
Thank you. Now, of course, the writer of the original screenplay. So important that you're involved in the production here. But can you take us back, because many might not realise that this was a story about your own life as a naval officer.
It was, yes, indeed. It was 1965, and everybody in the United States, every man, had to be in some armed service capacity. So I chose the Navy, and I went to this school. 13 weeks of the most difficult time in my entire life, where I experienced a drill instructor like the guy I wrote about, that Lou Gossett Jr. won the Academy Award for playing. And I met a girl like Paula Pokrivky, and I had a tough love dad like Byron Mayo. So all of these things kind of came together for me when I became a screenwriter and was looking for something personal to write about, and I couldn't think of anything more harrowing than this 13-week school.
Your own experiences, which makes the story so authentic, doesn't it?
Well, yes, I think it really does, and it's the reason why I can watch this production on stage now and literally be emotional every single time, because I'm reliving my own life and the feelings I had during that time.
Johnny, a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Absolutely no pressure whatsoever, but you are playing Zach, which of course is the iconic lead male character that our viewers would be familiar, of course, with Richard Gere playing that character in An Officer and a Gentleman. How are you feeling about it all?
Oh, it's daunting, but it's so much fun. I mean, it's such an iconic role, and I enjoy it every single night. I'm lucky enough I get to do it, so but yes. I love it. It's pretty daunting.
So you were telling me beforehand, you've workshopped this character and,
Indeed,
and this screenplay, but this is the first time audiences will see it live in such a wonderful venue here.
Yeah, and being here is fantastic, and yeah, it's the first time we've put it on stage in front of audiences, and we opened about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and the response we've had has been incredible. I mean, the audience is just going crazy. I've never known anything like it.
And were you familiar with the story and how ridiculously famous it is beforehand?
I knew about the iconic sequences in it, but
yes.
I didn't know like the full story before I started workshopping it, which was before we started the show. So my other half was workshopping it at the time as well. So we watched the film before we started, and we were like, you can see why this has been a tried and tested method, because it's just such an epic story.
Yes, and there's something about a man in a uniform as well, I think. You mentioned that iconic moment and that iconic song. How does that work on stage, and how do people react? So
I enter at the end on a big staircase and kind of walk down to get Paula, my love at the time, and the reaction's been pretty special. Yeah, it's always fun by that point. I think it's a bit of a roller coaster of emotions, Act 2 specifically, and by that point I think the audience are definitely ready for a happy ending.
Okay, they're all waiting to be swept off their feet. Am I going to get swept off my feet today?
Oh, of course you are.
Oh,
of
God.
course we are. Here we go. See, there we go. And then I'll take her away and take her up. She's not coming back now. I'm taking her on.